Alaska is preparing for an upcoming primary election. 16 different candidates are all vying for a single seat in the United States Senate. But right in the middle of that ballot is a very specific anomaly. Two of the candidates running for that seat have exactly the same name, Dan Sullivan. Candidate A is the sitting Republican U.S. Senator, the party ally seeking his third consecutive term in Washington. Candidate B is a retired elementary school teacher who lives in a remote fishing town of fewer than 3,000 people. Both men are officially certified for the ballot. The duplication is a binding legal reality, and it is currently causing a wave of panic among national political operatives. The incumbent senator took to the press, dropping expletives and claiming the appearance of a second Sullivan is a scandalous attempt to rig the election. To understand his concern, we have to look at Alaska's unique primary system. Regardless of political party, all 16 candidates are filtered through a single primary, and only the top 4 vote-getters advance to the general election. There is a specific mechanic causing the senators alarm. State law dictates that ballots do not identify which candidate is the incumbent. On election day, voters are presented with 2 identical names and no labels to distinguish them. In a race that could determine the Senate majority, splitting the vote on an unlabeled name creates a mathematical risk that could hand control of the chamber to the opposition. The incumbent senator has presented an official theory. He insists the second Dan Sullivan is a dirty trick, a plant used by the Democrats to siphon away his constituents. He points the finger directly at his chief rival for the Senate seat, former Democratic Representative Mary Peltola, claiming her campaign coordinated the effort. The response from the other side of the aisle was immediate. Both the Peltola campaign and the executive director of the Alaska Democratic Party issued denials, stating they have no affiliation with either Sullivan. At this point in the investigation, there are 2 Sullivans, no evidence of Democratic involvement, and a sitting senator threatening legal action against ghosts. To understand if there is a real threat, we have to look at the challenger himself, Dan J. Sullivan of Petersburg. He is a Midwesterner who moved to Alaska to work for the U.S. Forest Service and has lived in the state for nearly 50 years. His early career was spent as a government employee working in the Alaskan wilderness. He eventually left that career due to frustration with government inefficiency, becoming an elementary school teacher. Public records from the Federal Election Commission show Dan J. Sullivan has not registered a committee. His official campaign funding currently stands at $0. His campaign website features a single promise. He wants to elect a Sullivan that actually stands up for Alaska. Despite this lack of funding, the National Republican Senatorial Committee has intervened, sending formal letters to state election officials calling the teacher a sham candidate. This creates an unusual standoff. The National Republican apparatus is now using its legal resources to prevent a registered Republican named Dan Sullivan from running for office. There is no evidence of a vast political conspiracy. Instead, it appears a local citizen spotted a loophole in the election rules and decided to use it. The incumbent senator is an ally of President Trump with massive institutional backing, yet he has spent the week in a state of public alarm over a small-town school teacher. By mobilizing the NRSC to fight a primary rival with no money, the senator has generated a level of national visibility that the challenger could never have afforded on his own. Throughout this entire meltdown, the Democratic Party has stayed on the sidelines, watching the internal Republican conflict play out in the headlines. Dan Sullivan is currently threatening to sue Dan Sullivan. The Republican Party is fighting a Republican, and in Petersburg, a retired teacher with $0 has become the most talked about candidate in the state.